Good evening, everyone. It is September 12th, 2023, and we have just finished with Tuesday's RTH session. And we got kind of what I was looking for, which is that I wanted to see a smaller session, kind of a normal session as well, given rollover was looking like it was complete and no major news other than the Apple event. I was expecting that to kind of behave like a mini FOMC sort of thing. Uh, and that's what we had. It behaved quite normally for the most part, other than that midday ramp, and then we had the sell off into the end of the day. I was looking for 475 to come in on NQ and 45.10 or lower on the ES. Our low of the day ended up being 483s, and I think 45.07 or something like that. Yeah, oh 07 quarter. So for tomorrow, um, right now we are trading a little bit under today's RTH low of the day. However, I'm not really expecting much movement before the CPI release. The market tends to slow down a bit as we await that news, so I will not be expecting any sort of, not going to be making any predictions for this overnight session. Um, if we do, this is what I will say. If we do end up getting back to, let's call it 45, 40-ish, maybe even lower. Let's call it 33, 32, today's primary resistance level, that 32 number that we churned around during a period. If we break that 45, 32, if we accept above that, I would imagine we go up to the weekly open and today's high of the day around 45.38, get up into settlement highs around 43-ish, and then start breaking out and getting into that high time frame balance that I've been talking about. Get into this guy over here. I think I think this thing's had enough tests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is getting silly. I think it's about time that another test up here, a triple top, if you want to call it 1, 2, 3, theoretically. I think that ends up breaking and you accept above. Now, the downside scenario, I think there are a number of places for this to find a bid, anywhere between, let's call it, roughly something like this, 45.65 to, there's an RTH gap close at 94, but really I'd be looking for us to get into somewhere around, I think, somewhere around 98. There you go. I think you have a nice range of areas to perhaps catch a bid for this thing tomorrow. Again, I'm not looking for any sort of massive predictions coming into the day. NQ, let's hop over here. NQ was unable to break the IB high after it had a more bullish morning than the ES. Was able to ramp up in that morning session close to the overnight high and then sold off. I think Apple also was selling off in the stock market. I think, there we go, closed at 1.71% down on the day. Not the best with their event. This thing is sitting at its high time frame level of importance. Sorry, these other lines are getting in here like they did the other day. We are just like how ES has its 84 or 98, whatever spot that is. That's where we're diddling around right now. 475 is that first half of the year's high on the Nasdaq. That is exactly where we're churning around right now. A loss here, it doesn't look good to me. This, in my opinion, was where the breakout buyers were stepping in, and looks like we're teetering on losing it. Going down to a smaller time frame, into that weekly chart, that is our pivot on the week. That is, if we lose this area, we're losing this balance over here. Trying to find a nice way to show it. Something like this, losing these kind of balance lows. So we have to see if we can get below 415 and get into that contract gap. On a lower time frame, how am I looking at actually trading this? Let's get into it. Perhaps let's throw on a 1 hour chart. Ooh, here we go. I think the last place to be short is 32s above there, and I would get rid of that. I think you'd end up traversing into 52 to 54, if not 65. So 32 to about 19 is going to be the key area for me, in my opinion, for sellers to step on this thing. If there is a gap down fail, I think you can look to take 15s long. Otherwise, I think that is also a short level. Let me just fix this. Boom. So overall, a little bit short biased here. There are some levels of interest. 0.75, that just kind of being where we've salvaged the bid a number of times. 94s is that RTH gap close. 86, 82 were important numbers back in August and September. Below there, 70, 65, and 61, all important numbers as well. So, and I doubt we trade much lower than that, hopefully. That's all I have on the ES. On the Nasdaq, get into it. If we get the gap down and fail, looking for longs around 495 to 483. If the overnight low is taken, I would be looking to short 475s for a move down to kind of around that 365 area, to be honest. I think you lose these balance lows around 417 to 440. And I think you end up getting into somewhere around either this kind of contract gap close up to about 342, maybe 365 above. I think you want to be short up until about 566. Above there, above that daily view up close at 566, I think you start flirting with a little bit of a breakout. Perhaps you get some offers up at today's A high area where we were churning and building supply. That was not tested around 644, 652s, but really I think you're fighting momentum at that point, and you're likely looking to trade somewhere around 740, if not 800. So quite a wide range of possibilities for tomorrow, not too unsurprising given the news event. I will likely either not be trading, or if I am, I'll be trading, I don't know, probably half size, maybe even 1/3 size. I'm not expecting this day to go to behave very statistically in line with what we would expect. Same with the day after on Thursday's PPI. Friday should be normal for the most part. I mean, that's also quarterly OPEX and the futures expiration, and I think something else. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Hope it helps. 100% there will be an update to this at the open. Other than that, have a great night and trade safe.